Imagine stepping into a world untouched by human hands, a landscape alive with motion and mystery. The year is roughly 3.7 million years ago, and the air is thick with the scent of wet earth and growing vegetation. Towering trees form a dense canopy overhead, filtering the sunlight into green-gold shafts that dance across the forest floor. Every step forward is met with the subtle crackle of leaves and the whisper of unknown creatures just beyond sight. How could our early ancestors navigate such a realm, where the roar of a predator could echo like a death knell through the undergrowth? In this prehistoric tapestry, life teems in forms both beautiful and terrifying. Massive herbivores, like early elephants and giant antelopes, move cautiously, their presence both a signal of sustenance and danger. Predators lurk silently in the shadows, sleek felines with eyes that pierce the dim light, and crocodiles lying in wait along the rivers that wind like serpents through the forest. This was no idle wilderness. Survival demanded keen senses, instinctive strategy, and an unbreakable bond with one another. Our ancestors, early hominins such as Australopithecus, faced these challenges without the comfort of shelters, weapons, or fire. Their existence relied on an intimate knowledge of their environment, where to find edible fruits, which paths were safest, and how to interpret the subtle cues of predator and prey alike. Every movement, every sound, was part of a silent dialogue with the world around them, a dialogue that determined life or death. Yet even in such danger, there was wonder. The forest offered a palette of colors, the murmur of water, and the quiet rhythm of life untouched by modern hands. How did these small, resilient beings interpret the forest? How did they make sense of a world that could swallow them whole in an instant? These questions are not just academic. They are a window into the very essence of human survival, adaptation, and curiosity. As we embark on this journey into a world 3.7 million years past, consider this. Every shadow might hide a predator, every rustle a story. Could you, armed with only instinct and wits, survive in such a place? Let's step carefully into the lost world of our earliest ancestors. If you are intrigued by this journey and want to see more of how our ancestors faced this unforgiving wilderness, make sure to hit like and leave a comment sharing which predator you think would be the most terrifying to encounter. The world 3.7 million years ago was an intricate network of life, shaped by climate, topography, and the relentless force of evolution. Dense forests stretched as far as the eye could see, their layered canopies creating a mosaic of light and shadow. Sunlight rarely touched the forest floor, filtering through the leaves to illuminate patches of moss, ferns, and scattered fruit trees. Rivers wound their way through this greenery, their waters teeming with fish and crustaceans, while occasional marshlands added a layer of danger and opportunity alike. Unlike today's landscapes, these ancient forests were less fragmented. Massive trees, some reaching heights unimaginable to our modern eyes, formed natural corridors for herbivores that moved cautiously through the undergrowth. The air was humid and heavy, carrying the earthy perfume of decaying leaves and the crisp scent of nearby water. Seasonal rains could transform trails into treacherous mud paths, yet these conditions also nourished a rich diversity of flora, providing both shelter and sustenance for countless species. Temperature fluctuations were gradual but significant. Early hominins had to adapt to periods of drought and bursts of rain, which determined the availability of food and the movements of predators. Open plains appeared sporadically, creating spaces where grazing animals congregated, but the forest dominated the horizon, a constant, watchful presence. Every step taken by a human ancestor was a negotiation with the environment, a careful reading of the terrain, the sounds, and the smells that hinted at danger or opportunity. Life in this forest was a delicate balance. Predators prowled the shadows, herbivores navigated the dense foliage, and hominins learned the rhythms of this world with keen observation. To understand our ancestors, we must first understand this environment, a complex, breathing ecosystem that demanded intelligence, curiosity, and resilience. In the shadowed depths of these ancient forests, our ancestors moved quietly, guided by instincts honed over millennia. The most prominent of them, Australopithecus afarensis, stood as a testament to the gradual unfolding of human evolution. Their bodies were small and agile, perfectly suited for both climbing trees and traversing uneven terrain. With long arms and strong hands, they could grasp branches and gather fruits with remarkable precision, while their feet, adapted for both walking upright and gripping, allowed them to navigate the forest floor with surprising efficiency. These early hominins were far from the hunters we imagine in later epochs. Instead, they were opportunistic foragers, blending observation with movement, learning from the animals around them and from the cycles of the seasons. Their brains, though smaller than ours, were already beginning to develop the capacity for problem-solving, memory, and social awareness. This intelligence allowed them to recognize patterns. The rustle of leaves signaling the approach of predators, or the subtle signs of fruit ripening in hidden branches. Social bonds were equally crucial. Australopithecus lived in small, cohesive groups, relying on communication through gestures, sounds, and facial expressions to maintain unity and protect one another. Cooperation was survival. Isolation was deadly. Mothers carried infants with care, while older members shared knowledge of edible plants and safe routes through the forest. In this delicate dance of life, every individual contributed to the survival of the collective. Yet they were vulnerable. Predators moved silently, and environmental hazards were ever present. Survival required more than strength. It demanded awareness, adaptability, and courage. These early humans were not merely existing. They were learning, experimenting with tools and strategies that would lay the groundwork for future generations. Observing them today, one can sense the fragile brilliance of their existence. Creatures on the threshold of humanity, facing a dense, unpredictable, and sometimes ruthless world with astonishing resilience. The forest was alive with motion, but not all of it invited curiosity. Every shadow could conceal a predator. Every rustle of leaves could signal imminent danger. Large felines, ancestors of modern lions and leopards, prowled silently through the underbrush, their bodies coiled with lethal precision. Their eyes, reflecting dim shafts of sunlight, watched every movement, assessing prey with an almost uncanny intelligence. Crocodiles waded in rivers and marshes, their bodies hidden beneath murky waters, ready to strike at anything that dared to drink or cross. Other threats were subtler, yet equally deadly. Snakes slithered unseen, ambushing with venomous accuracy, while packs of hyena-like scavengers scavenged, ready to exploit a misstep. Even herbivores posed dangers. Massive early elephants could trample anything that came too close, while horned antelopes defended themselves fiercely. For our ancestors, survival demanded constant vigilance, awareness of sound, smell, and motion that modern humans can scarcely imagine. Despite the danger, early hominins developed strategies to coexist with these predators. They observed hunting patterns, avoided high-risk areas, and used noise and visual cues to alert each other to danger. Group coordination became essential. One misstep could spell death, while collective awareness could mean life. Imagine walking through that forest today, knowing that at any moment, a predator might strike. Which animal would strike the deepest fear into your heart? Would it be the stealthy feline, the silent crocodile, or the thunderous trampling of a giant elephant? Share your thoughts in the comments. Let's see which predator you would least want to encounter in this ancient wilderness. Life in the dense forests of 3.7 million years ago was a constant negotiation with nature, and nothing was more vital than food. Early hominins relied on a keen understanding of their surroundings to find sustenance in an environment brimming with both opportunity and danger. The forest floor was scattered with roots, tubers, and fallen fruits, while the trees themselves offered branches heavy with edible leaves and seasonal fruits. Observation was critical. Knowing when a fruit was ripe, which plant roots were nutritious, and which foliage could be toxic, was a matter of life and death. Foraging required patience and strategy. Early humans learned to move quietly, avoiding the notice of predators while collecting food. They used basic tools, sticks, stones, and sharpened branches, to dig roots, crack nuts, and extract insects from hidden crevices. In some cases, scavenging provided access to meat, but this was risky. It meant approaching sites recently hunted by larger predators. Every bite was earned through caution, intelligence, and adaptability. Social cooperation was also vital in foraging. Groups shared knowledge about food sources, alerted each other to dangers, and coordinated collection in a way that maximized efficiency while minimizing risk. This practice not only ensured survival, but also strengthened bonds and reinforced social hierarchies within the group. The forest was both pantry and peril. Every step taken in search of sustenance was an act of calculation, blending instinct with learning. For our ancestors, understanding where to find food and how to acquire it safely shaped not just their diet, but their very behavior, laying the foundations for problem-solving and communal life that would define the evolution of humankind. In the ever-challenging landscapes of 3.7 million years ago, survival depended not only on instinct, but on the ingenuity of early humans. The forest demanded more than physical strength. It demanded intelligence, curiosity, and creativity. This is where the first tools emerged, humble in form, yet revolutionary in function. Stones were carefully selected, their edges shaped by repeated strikes to create sharp surfaces capable of cutting, scraping, or pounding. Branches became probes for extracting insects or digging roots, transforming ordinary elements of the forest into instruments of survival. These early innovations were more than mere objects. They represented foresight, planning, and learning. A simple stone could open the door to meat scavenging from carcasses or allow the crafting of shelters and protective barriers. The act of creating a tool was itself an exercise in observation, understanding the properties of materials, envisioning their potential, and translating that vision into a tangible object. Socially, tools became a shared knowledge. Young hominins observed elders, learning the subtle techniques that could make a stone sharper or a branch more effective. Instruction was implicit but powerful, a quiet thread connecting one generation to the next. The forest, while threatening, was also a classroom teaching through necessity the principles of adaptation and innovation. Every innovation, no matter how small, expanded the boundaries of survival. With each sharpened stone or cleverly employed branch, early humans gained an edge against predators, improved their access to food, and slowly carved a space for themselves within a world dominated by creatures far larger and stronger. Tools were the first whispers of humanity's ingenuity, signaling that survival was not only about endurance, but about imagination. The forest was not only home to predators and prey, it was also inhabited by other hominins and creatures whose presence could be both a challenge and a lesson. Early humans shared the landscape with multiple species, each navigating the dense canopy in search of survival. These interactions were complex, a delicate balance of competition, avoidance, and occasional opportunity. Encounters with other hominins could bring cooperation or conflict. Some species overlapped in territory. creating moments of tension over food or shelter. Yet, these interactions also offered the chance to observe behaviors, learn new strategies, and adapt more efficiently to a world brimming with danger. Even animals were part of this intricate web. Herbivores signaled predator presence through their movements, while birds and insects hinted at seasonal changes. Adaptability was key. Our ancestors learned when to confront, when to flee, and when to coexist peacefully. Such decisions shaped their survival and social development. Every day was a negotiation with the living world, each interaction a step in mastering the environment that surrounded them. Which species would you have feared most if you were navigating this forest alongside early humans? Another hominin, a predator, or even a massive herbivore? Share your thoughts in the comments below and imagine the intensity of living in such a world. Survival in the dense forests of 3.7 million years ago demanded more than individual skill. It required the emergence of social intelligence. Early hominins lived in small, tight-knit groups, where collaboration could mean the difference between life and death. Every member had a role. Mothers nurtured infants, elders shared knowledge of food sources and dangers, and scouts monitored the forest for threats. Communication was essential, relying on gestures, vocalizations, and facial expressions that conveyed urgency and intention. Social bonds strengthened through shared experiences, from foraging expeditions to encounters with predators. Trust was built gradually, reinforced by cooperation in the daily struggles of survival. In these early communities, the seeds of complex human behavior were taking root. Strategies such as warning calls, coordinated movement through dangerous terrain, and even simple forms of teaching created networks of knowledge that transcended individual lifespans. The forest was a classroom of both danger and learning. Each day demanded observation, empathy, and anticipation, skills that laid the foundation for culture, memory, and planning. It was in these moments of cooperation and communication that our ancestors began to evolve not only as survivors, but as social beings capable of shaping their world and each other's lives. The forests of 3.7 million years ago were alive, not only with creatures but with unpredictability. Seasonal rains transformed trails into slippery, treacherous paths, while periods of drought tested the resilience of every living being. Fires occasionally swept through dry underbrush, leaving charred landscapes that forced hominins to relocate or adapt quickly. Rivers could flood without warning, and shifting vegetation altered the availability of edible plants and safe shelter. Early humans had to interpret these changes instinctively. Observing cloud patterns, sensing humidity in the air, and understanding animal behaviors became crucial survival skills. The forest demanded constant vigilance. What worked one season might fail the next. Adaptability was not optional, it was the essence of life. Even subtle environmental shifts shaped evolution. The pressure to find reliable water sources, navigate dangerous terrain, and locate food in an ever-changing landscape honed problem-solving abilities, spatial awareness, and social coordination. These challenges were relentless teachers, shaping not only bodies and skills, but also the mental frameworks that would eventually define human intelligence. The environment was as formidable a predator as any feline or crocodile. To survive, our ancestors had to be not just strong, but perceptive, resilient, and endlessly adaptable, a lesson that resonates through millions of years of evolution. As we step back from the forests of 3.7 million years ago, it becomes clear that our ancestors' experiences left a profound imprint on the trajectory of humanity. The challenges they faced, the predators, the shifting environment, the struggle for food, were not mere obstacles, but catalysts for adaptation, intelligence, and resilience. Each decision, each innovation, each social interaction laid the groundwork for the complex societies that would emerge millions of years later. Their survival was a testament to the power of observation, cooperation, and ingenuity. They taught themselves to read the subtle signs of their environment, to anticipate danger, and to work collectively in the face of overwhelming odds. These lessons echo in every human achievement that followed, reminding us that adaptability is as crucial as strength and curiosity as vital as instinct. Walking through this distant past, one cannot help but reflect on the fragile yet brilliant dance between life and environment. Early humans were more than survivors. They were pioneers, learning to navigate a world of uncertainty with courage and insight. Their story invites us to consider our own relationship with the natural world, and how the skills honed in a primeval forest continue to shape the human spirit today. The echoes of their lives remind us that every adaptation, every bond, and every discovery matters. As you reflect on their journey, imagine how the resilience of these early humans resonates in your own life, and how understanding the past can guide our choices in the present.